Hit start streaming, it always seems to lag here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit start streaming right now, and I'm guessing it's already been and gone live. So good morning, my name is Matt. I'm not over at the desktop just yet, but I wanted to start this live session off the right way and remind ourselves why we were interested in the Sidewinder. So what I'm going to do is go and hit play. I also need to turn off one of the cameras as well. That one there. And let's hit play and go for it. This is a reminder why we're interested in the Sidewinder. So let's go and progress ourselves over to the desk, and I hope this is coming out nice and loud and clear. Good morning, I'm Matt, thank you for joining us here live. Now, just a quick note, tiny bit of housekeeping. This is being recorded live. If you have any questions or comments, if you're on the live version, please just ask on the right hand side of your screen, and you'll see the chat coming up over here as well. Now, a little note for those of you which are using an iPad or an iPhone or a smaller screen device, the live chat is in the bottom right hand corner. YouTube hides it, so you need to click on live chat and then you'll see the chat going on and you'll be able to join in. Obviously, if you're watching the recorded version, then you can leave any questions or comments underneath this video, or pop across to the Facebook group. There's a link to the Rag the Nuts Off Facebook group down there as well. And yes, you are right, it is a red jumper day, as most days are here, to say the least. So also keeping just on the topic of housekeeping, the Sidewinder wing, this model was bought out of my own money for my own abuses. This was not a freebie for review. I have been complaining for the last couple of days that the HobbyKing website has been broken, and pressing refresh repetitively, waiting for it to turn up in the UK warehouse. It turned up in the UK warehouse about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock yesterday morning. Bought one immediately. Pastor Force 24 and Mr. Pastor Force, who's got Mohican now, crazy bloke, it turned up this morning by about 8 o'clock. So happy days. I'm going slightly off topic. I'm a massive fan of Pastor Force. And the main reason is because they tend to deliver here very, very early. So happy days. So I'm very happy that HobbyKing used them because for me, it works out great. Right. Okay, I'm not going to treat this as an RC coffee chat. Good morning, everybody, or good evening, or good afternoon, as the case may be. Now, just to give you a heads up, one of my daughters is off school at the moment. So she's been over there. She's got her face glued to my phone playing Minecraft. Yeah, same to you. So if you hear some sarcastic comments later on, you know where it's coming from, which is over there. Yeah, happy days. Right, with that, let's get on. The box on this thing is absolutely huge. The box was bigger than the Tundra, I think, or as big as the Tundra, which turned up here last year. It's absolutely massive. It was like up here somewhere. So I've actually put out the box to shoot with the air rifle. Not this though, hopefully. Now to make this easier, what I've been and done is cut the lid off, and I'm going to put my hands up. Is that I already have had a bit of a sneak peek inside the box. And I've also had to cut the box open so that we can share this experience together as well. The other thing to note is that it's absolutely massive. So I've got a top-mounted camera up there, and we've also got the forward-facing camera. So I'll do my best to try and keep it on a mix of both of them. So I'm just looking over there to see if I hit both of them. And with that said, let's get in here. And that's not really going to work out very well, he says. I might just get a bit of tape, so you'll have to excuse me just a moment, just to hold that lid back. Use a bit of masking tape to hold back. So, quick rundown on the specifications. It's a 1.1 metre wing, which is about 43.3 inches. Wingspan, so a decent size, and that really did not work very well, did it? Hopefully that stays put. I'll stick another bit of tape on it. 35-36 2000 kV motor with a 50-45 prop, so it is going to be a little bit on the screamy side. What else we got? Servos pre-installed. I went for the plug and play kit. Normally what happens with wings for me or cheaper models is that I like kits because I get to choose my components in them. But this is one of those strange models like the EF Extra, where you would want... you would pretty much want the kits, the parts which they're suggesting. It's because it's Durafly, you know, you normally get a really good motor, and the ESCs aren't too bad either, and the servos are okay. So that's why I went for the plug and play kit. You can buy this, you can buy it as a kit. I do like that as an option. There's also, if you look on the HobbyKing site, there are a plethora of spare parts available for this wing as well. So with that said, let's cut the chat, let's take a quick look. Now, I do believe there's a whole collection of different coloured stickers. And that was, again, we need to fill in a little bit of history here. Many of you will remember Stuart Warren, he used to work for HobbyKing. And this was, I think this was his baby when it came round to the Sidewinder wing. And again, we've been waiting since February of last year. It was to the point that I know that many of us were wondering if HobbyKing were ever going to release this model. But the thing to keep in the back of your mind is that they would have paid a small fortune for not only the CAD work to design the wing, they would have paid literally a small fortune for the mould to be made for the actual model itself, and that's ignoring the other little plastic components as well. So there was always a big investment which had been made on, like, from a HobbyKing or Durafly's point of view. So it was, yeah, it was frustrating it wasn't released last year, but it was one of those which it was kind of obvious it would get released because so much money had been put into the development and getting it to the prototype stage. And I know a couple of people who had got these, had got a Sidewinder, say from like a HobbyKing event where they've been given away or won in there, yeah, they've been everybody which I know of has been very impressed with them so far. One of the nice things about this wing is that you get to choose silver, yellow, green, blue, or, funny enough, red, because we all know that red is the fastest colour. So my Sidewinder, funny enough, will be red. So you do get a choice of other colours if you also don't believe that red is the fastest colour. So we'll get those up and out of the way and have a nose at the wing itself. And I need a pen or a knife or something. There we go, I've got craft knife in there. Atomic FPV, Nabil, EPO plus race wing equals popcorn. Yeah, that is going to be a concern. How well will this model hold up to a damn good slapping into anything hard? Because it's EPP, we will be paying very, very close attention to the actual moulding of it, and I've got no idea what that's for, to see what it's like on the density of the foam, because there are different grades of density when it comes to foams which are used in these models. I've had what was it, the C1 Chaser? The C1 Chaser had one of the lowest density foams which I've come across. As such, it did dent very easily. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Obviously, it does make it lighter, but then that does give you an issue as far as durability. So that is one of the big questions which we have as enthusiasts and RC pilots is what is, and you'll see the size of the box. That is one of the concerns or queries which we have as pilots of what's this model going to be like to as owners, in short. What is it going to be like? What's it going to fly like? And when is it and how resilient it's going to be? Now, apparently there was supposed to be multiple fins available for this wing. So I remember the original, again, I've put a link in the top right hand corner of the screen to a previous chat with Stuart Warren from HobbyKing at the time. And apparently there was 2 different fins which were going to be included. So taller wings for windier days and shorter wings for less windier days. And I've not seen those just yet, but I haven't even got the bags open myself. Like I said, all I've done is just cut the box open and lifted it up and had a little quick sneak preview in there myself. Oh, one thing which I will do, and I got caught out on this once before, I will be checking the polystyrene, the opposite side, just in case they haven't stuck something on the opposite side and I go to throw the polystyrene away and we miss it. So anyway, there is the wing. First impressions, that is not the densest EPO foam I have ever come across. I am using the Sonic Model F1 wing as a reference. That thing weighed a absolute friggin' ton, and it was the densest foam, EPO foam I have ever come across. You couldn't even dent it. This is definitely lighter. Now, just going off Nabil's comment earlier, it's EPO foam. I'll put that up on the top camera. You'll be able to see the bubble structure going on in the foam itself. So, yeah, maybe that's better if I tilt it on there. They have been put a black plastic along the leading edge. Let's have a look at the bottom side as well. I will move this box out of the way. I'm just being really curious at the moment. So there's those finger grips, which we mentioned at the bottom. To be honest, I don't throw wings from the middle. There was a time when I did do that, but to be honest, I'm more of like just grab it by the side of the wing and side launch it with my right hand. It doesn't help that I'm mode 2 as well, so it's chuck and get down to the sticks as fast as possible. But yeah, first impressions, not too bad. One thing which again, just one of my quick observations, just looking at the video and also looking at it here with me right now, is this nose cone. Let me just put that up on there. Is that I'm sure this is a very good idea, having, again, saves you putting sellotape along the leading edge, so it will keep the wing pretty clean, to say the least. But one concern I've got is that how long will this nose piece actually stay in one piece? Because it is definitely going to be one of those ones which you will need to flare when you come into land, and any rough ground it might dig in and then spin it over or something like that. So that is, for me, it's a big curiosity. It's nice to see that we've got the bottom cut. We've got stripes on the bottom, which is absolutely categorically needed for fast models, so you can work out the orientation very quickly. They have been covered over the servo leads as well. We've got the ESC in the bottom now. It is a, you'll have to excuse me, I'm just having a nose myself. It says it's, and I can't see, it's supposed to be a 50 amp, which I think yeah, it's a 50 amp ESC. So the ESC has changed from the original specifications because we did have it down as a 60 amp ESC. Derek says, ooh, it looks like a arrowhead. Absolutely. Yeah, it looks pretty bonkers if you ask me. Now, we've got some also stickers. Now, as many of you know, I'm not really a big fan of stickers, but as long as they've got 6... Whoa, where's number 9? I was going to put 69 on mine, or 96, depends which way you put it in. And, you've chopped off the other, where's the 9 gone? What's that, Matt? Minor detail. Anyway, let's get the wing out of the way a second, and we're just going to quickly check on the underside of the box. And I'm no kidding you. Like I said, I've had models here, No, there isn't any ink underneath, so quick sanity check on that one. And if you've been caught out that way before, you've got a model and you've wondered where parts are, and you've gone on and complained, and they said, oh, have you checked underneath the packaging in the foam and then found it in there? Because that's never happened to me, honest. Right, let's take a closer look. There's very little weight in this wing considering its size. It's also very, I'm just thinking of the other models which I've got here, it's not very deep like the wing cord at all. It is very much like an arrow. If I put it up like that, you'll get the idea. It's very much like an arrow. So that's the one thing which really does stand out on this wing, is that its cord is very small, and again, its wing. There's obviously been a consideration. I think that's probably the best way from it on here. So with a race wing, what you would normally want is an extremely thin profile on the actual wing itself, so to have not very deep at all. Now, to be able to get components in here, there's obviously been compromises made, and I think that's one area which has been compromised, is that if you look up here on the top camera, is that that's quite thick. I'd probably say that we're not talking major thick. Okay, we're only probably talking about an inch, maybe 1.25 inches at its thickest point in there for the density, like the depth of the cord itself. But it could have been thinner. But then again, we do have to account it's got 2 bays in it, etc., etc. The motor looks like it has been well placed in there. It is the 2000 kV. It does come with the adapter on the back. Let me just point that up there so you can see it. Hopefully that focuses. Okay. All pretty good, straightforwards. So far, should I say. Right, I do want a little screwdriver. How do we get in here? Right, what will I be setting up in mine? I will be putting in, and that's going to be fun. I do have all the components here ready because I will be out flying this one today. So we will be hot gluing and running. I do have a Runcam Mini Swift, which by the looks of it, I will need. Yes. So for this camera specifically, is that I am going to have to need just to cut out a little bit of the nose area just to get that camera out further on that nose area. So I'm just going to stick that in there a second. Yeah, because all I need to do is put in the FPV gear and a receiver, and then we're away. And I did just notice we got a separate back. That is typically a good sign. That is a bit of a faff trying to get that nose in, if I'm honest. Yeah, that camera, can you see it on there? It's too far back. So yeah, I understand why it's so far back. Is because it's meant for like the bigger can of run cams on there, or the, what was it, the HS711, whatever it was. So yeah, that is a little bit of a curiosity. We do have a separate back. It doesn't say. It just said. Oh no, that's not the back. That's the. Oh, that's. Sorry, there's me fumbling around, and I'm just here working out what's going on. Okay, so you have your throttle lead. Okay, so the back is inside the ESC, so that's nice and straightforward. Then you've got your XT60 connector, which is happy days. You've got a JST connector on there, wired the wrong way round, or is it the right way round? Someone please tell me, is that the right way round or the wrong way round for a JST? I always thought the red was on the left and the black was on the right. Correct me if I'm wrong, or I've got a bag full of completely incorrectly wired ones. Let me, those of you which have used JSTs more than what I have, I always thought they went on the opposite side. I might be looking at it the wrong way round, but I swear blind the red was on the left. So yeah, the side with the dimple is on the top, and then we've got the red on the right and the black on the left. But small point. Anyway, you can pull it out and change it around, or change your wiring on the other side. So you got that. And then you've got LED. And the LED is that I would assume you plug it into your, whatchamacallit, receiver. Now, is there a button in here? No, I'm looking for a button, or that there's apparently some way that you can change the LED bar, which is on the back. Oh, apologies, I've just hit the camera. Can you see that just down there? Shut up, you. So we got an LED at the bar at the back, which apparently you can make change colours, and I don't know how you do that. I'm sure there's probably Yeah, there's a push button in the middle. There's me pushing that. Yeah, there's a push button in the middle. I tell you what, should we wire it up and give it a whirl and see if we can make it half work? Because all we need is a single receiver, and I'm sure we've got one of those kicking in and around right here. Give you a heads up, there is an episode coming out very, very shortly, it's called, it's part of the Calf Ball series, and we will be discussing receivers and speed controllers, and some of you might be a little bit mortified on the number of ESCs which somebody owns, and also the number of motors which they also own too. So I'm just going to go and grab my transmitter at now. Do let me know about the JST connector. I swear blind that one's the wrong way round.
Switch warning. Stabilization off. Horizon mode. Engine off. Middle rates.
But that could be the wrong way around because all my other ones which I've got are also the wrong way round. So maybe they're wrong. So anyway, right, copy model there. And
switch warning. Engine off. Middle rates.
Right, so let's set this one up. So we get this on here. Right, LED, I'm going to stick down on channel 8 because it's irrelevant. Throttle is always channel 1, and we also need a battery. Naughty Matt. Oh, I didn't see these servo wires. Did anybody see the servo wires kicking around? Get that with 2S just in case. Oh, what's going on here? I think I'm going to need a little screwdriver to get in here. Because we've got the case covers, but we're missing a pair of whatchamacallit. So I hope you can see. Let me move out of the way so you can see the wing, and I will get back to your chat in a moment. I'm just going to get these screws out of the way. Now there are 2 bays either side. They have got the left wing bay as being the video transmitter and the right bay as being the receiver, which is actually the right way round of what you're supposed to be doing it, because most people launch, well, I do at least, launch with my right hand. So if you get your transmitter too close to, say, an X8R, for example, is that it will blur out on us and come short. So yeah, we've got a collection of wires in here. And how are we supposed to... That's all jammed packed. Ah, that makes sense. Right. We've got another wire in here which I have got no idea what it's for. It is a black and white wire, and there are no markings on there for why. Do we have... Ah! We have LEDs out on the wingtips. So that is a nice touch. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to pop that right up on that camera. I hope that's going to come out. There's an LED right out on that wingtip, which I don't think you can change the colour. And there goes my receiver. And that's the one. I don't think you can change the whatchamacallit on those. The colour on those. They'll be whatever colour they are. But the board at the back, I'm sure you can do. Now, one curiosity for me is that you can just, and I mean just, about fit a X8R receiver in that hole in there. So let's go and get this one wired up. While I'm getting this plugged in and whatnot, have you seen Sir Andrew Newton's video yet of the YouTubers in his what is it, the Avios Bushmore? Absolute nutter, absolute nutter. I laughed my boobies off this morning. I even showed the wife and she thought it was funny too. It was very, very bemusing. So I'm just going to nip across here to make sure I really do have the throttle set on channel 1. So powered off, yes. Let's plug her in. Nothing else wired up. Right. So I've only got one. Ah, that's why I've only got one LED working, because I've not plugged it in. That cable's really bloody short. That here, minor oversight, easily fixed with a servo extension lead. But I don't know if you can see that up there. That's the wire for the LED up on the opposite side of the wing. That one's too short, so you can't get. So for that one to go in there, you can't pull those wires any further that way. So you're a bit screwed. So you're going to end up needing at least one female to male servo connector. So I'll tell you what, let's plug that in anyway. Right. Ah, fantastic. So there we go. you'll notice on that side, we've got a red LED. Over on that side, we've got a green LED, and I had to check that. Now, this one's not been unbound, so I'm guessing that's why the LEDs at the back have not been come on. They seem to be okay, so I'll tell you what, let's go and get that one bound quickly. Now, page, go back. Are they D16s or D8s? Who knows? It's always a tricky thing getting receivers bound. Brilliant. No, it's got to be D16. Exit. Yes, bound. Right, outstanding. Cool. And power. No LEDs just yet. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to see if I can push the button. Ah! There we go. Tell you what, let me go and put this round up there so you can see on the top camera. So we've got red, we've got flashing red, we've got very fast flashing red. We got 2. I wonder if you've got to hold the button down for a period of time for it to change colour. Again, I've really not read the instructions. I didn't even see any. Oh, there's green. Blue, yellow, purple, off, more purple, turquoisey blue, white, red, and green, and blue, and yellow, and purple, and turquoise, and what other colours you like on there. Again, some of you may be thinking, Matt, that's a bit of a gimmick.
Telemetry lost.
I'll shut that down. But the reality is that if you've ever chased anybody else, or you fly like here at the moment, which is in spring here in the United Kingdom, is the lighting is terrible. So being able, not only being us calling out where we are on the flight line, so we know where we are, that's why we've named different parts on the flying site, some very adult names, is that having some form of being able to spot your pilot is, like your buddies, is a really, really good idea. So I like that. It only costs a penny. It's just an LED controller, and it's only 3 little LEDs on the back. They look like 50/50 LEDs because they really are quite bright. And also the format was there, but I might be wrong on those, which are, by the way, 50/50s are normally the brighter ones. All saying that you can get 70/30s and things like that now. One thing which I don't like is that is a bit of an annoyance with the outside LED. You'll see that the receiver is really on a bit of an angle, so I need to get an extension lead in there to be able for that to fit. But to be honest, that's no biggie. That will sit down properly in there if I take the Velcro off the back. And then I'll need to do something funky with the antennas to make sure that they both kind of fit in there. That will be fun to do that. Now don't panic, I've only just used a 2S battery just to be on the safe side, just in case I do something daft here on the desk. One thing which I am going to do, I'm just going to have a quick look in the other bay on the right hand side. Now, if you do have any questions about the Sidewinder, if you ask them right now in the live chat, I will be pausing in a moment just to go and take a look at any questions which you have as soon as we've been another nose in here. One thing which I also have noticed is that they are using the ball control horn, clevis, is it clevis on the end? The ball in doodah. I don't know what the technical name is at the moment, but they have been in use for that. Ooh, tiny point. I'll put this on the top camera. Can you see just there? They have included a lip, so it has to go down and then fold down. So you'd have to have the failure of 2 screws for that to get ripped out, which is a nice touch. Or you'd need a flying buddy to fly underneath you and then rip it out from above. Craig, we are talking about you, sir. That is a huge, great big bay. I won't get a ruler because I don't actually have. Oh yes, I do. I'll take that back. Huge, great big bay. We're talking about 4 inches long, which is about 10 centimeters, and about 1.25 inches wide by 3 centimeters for the FPV bay. For the receiver bay, we are talking about 3 inches or just under, and again 3 centimeters or 1.25 inches wide. As far as depth goes, We are talking just over ½ inch, just a little smidge over there again, because we've got to account for the lid to sit down on the top, and it will be the same on the other side. Hoping that X8R will go in there. Again, I won't skimp on the receivers which I'm using in there, and because we've got so many connections going on in there, is that unless you make something like a Y lead or something like that, is what have we got? We got LED, we've got the LED bar, and we've got the 2 other LEDs on the ends. Is that you would need a 3-way splitter if you were only using a 4-channel receiver. So that control, because of the number of plugs which you got, you would have to use, or ideally use, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a minimum of a 5-channel receiver, which in my case, because I use FR Sky, is an X8R. And again, let's be frank here, if we've got a model which is flying around at a predicted 100 miles an hour plus, you want a receiver which is not going to glitch on you. So this would be the kind of model you wouldn't skimp out and put a crappy receiver in it. So for me, that does mean it's either an X8R or, believe it or not, an L9R to go in there. And I know that we don't get as fast a response with the L9R, but if you're going to end up doing stupid stuff like I'll end up doing with this, which is flying super low off the ground, a field or so over through tons and tons of snow on the goggles, then I need the L9R or I need an X8R, which is going to hold up to the signal strength which I need. Now I know that, and I will get to your questions just in a moment, but you'll have to bear with me. I know that Stuart had designed this wing so that you would have an FPV antenna coming out of here on one side, which would be that he was using a mushroom. So I won't be using a mushroom. I've got a short RPSMA. That's one of the IOM away ones, antennas. So that's what I'll be using in mine. So that will be up there. Now, I know he was concerned about drag and having even sides. To be honest, I think what I'll probably end up doing once I've taken it out today and got it flown in and everything like that, is that what I'll end up doing is having the clover leaf on that side, and then I think I'll make a little thing like that, so I end up with my antennas, one going one direction and one going vertical. So I've just popped that up on there, so you'll see what I mean. I'll have one going in one direction and one going the opposite way, or maybe working out, so that would even out the drag on the wing, which to be honest is not going to be a large amount. Or the other thing which I could do is maybe embed it in the wing, which is normally my approach for stuff, but I have already seen a glimpse down here in the wing, is that we do have a spar in there. So happy days. Right, there's enough of me going off on a slight little tangent. We'll have a look at the parts in a moment as well. Let's get to your chat. And I still don't know what these black things are for yet. I wonder if they're to go, aha. That kind of makes sense. Are you okay there, Poppet? You're right, you're nodding. Yes. Brilliant. Sorry, like I said, my daughter's home today. Right. Moving on to your chat. Let's go to Skinny Guy FPV, which was the last question which was asked, and I'll try and work my way back up. Might be a stupid question. Is there room somewhere for a Mobius? The answer to that is yes. That was one thing which I was interested in. So the answer is yes. If you have a look at the lid, which is picked up a screw off the desk already, is that you will spot that there's a flat spot. I'll twist it around there so you can see it on the top camera. There is a flat spot up there. There are 2 holes on there for one of the Velcro ribbon cables. What I would do in my instance is put a piece of spiky Velcro in there and also use a Velcro strap on top, because from experience is that when you go in, you tend to go in really, really hot. So you need to try and keep bits stuck to the model as best you can. So yeah, I'd use Velcro to hold it down, and Velcro on the bottom of the Mobius, or in my case it'll be the Runcam 2, because I think that's a far superior camera, at least as video quality goes. And then a strap around the top, and then that will fit in. If I just point out on there, this bit here is a bit of a faff. I don't see this lid lasting 5 seconds or a nanosecond in a special landing, to be brutally honest. Again, that's just my opinion. We'll see what happens in the real world. Same for this nose section. I'm not entirely sure how well that's going to hold up to. Again, I can't see inside, but what I have seen is that there was an extensive parts list available, and I'm guessing the nose cones will be part of those parts list. So yeah, good question. FPV says looks like a low drag machine. I agree with you that right back at the beginning we were discussing about the thickness of the wing cord, and yeah, I think there was obviously a compromise made there, because you would if you're going for a race wing, you would want it as thin as physically possible, so it causes less drag, so you end up going faster. But then they've had to accommodate 2 great big bays on the side, and they are of a fair size, to be honest, and you want to keep some rigidity and a model which doesn't snap in 2 pieces if you just cough at it as well. So I think they've done like an overall compromise for a really fast wing, and to be able to get like off-the-shelf components in there, because that is an excessively large video transmitter bay. You have to admit, so you would get a wide variety in there, because what was it, 4 inches long by 1.25 inches or so wide, and it's quite deep, so you would get every video transmitter I pretty much own. You could probably cram in there. That's my point. So yeah, happy to do some there. Joe says, how much carbon fibre will Matt insert to the wing? No, I don't think this is going to be one of those famous last words. I don't think this is going to be one of those models which I'm going to add extra carbon to. What I'm going to do, this is a little bit hard to see. So up on the top camera, you should, if I put the ruler down there is a carbon fibre spar. Well, I presume it's carbon, carbon or glass fibre. I can't tell it's carbon fibre or glass fibre, but that is strip. It looks like 3mm, maybe, no, it's 3mm strip going all the way along there. You also have strip in the elevon as well, which is again a nice thing to see as well. I need to check those elevon surfaces. There's another spar thing in here which I really cannot see what it is. You'll have to excuse me while I just dig out. It looks like a square tube they've got going across this section here, which is a little bit odd. You've got 2 plastic things here, and I've got no idea what they are. They've got, one's called LT and one of them's called RT. If you know what those LT and RT are supposed to be, do let me know in the comment section underneath this video. And we've got much, and I mean much thicker, I would say 2.5 to maybe 3mm by 4mm, not rod, strip going along the leading edge as well. And I'm going to try and get this up on the top camera so you can see it too. So put this up here. So if you look in that hole there, that's a carbon fibre. I presume it's carbon fibre. That's a strip in there. It's really quite thick and it's really quite deep as well. This one here is like a box piece which they've got in there. I doubt it's rectangular because you don't normally get rectangular glass fibre or carbon fibre. So I'm guessing that's square rod which they've got in there, or tubing. And then back here you've definitely got, it looks like by 1mm or 1.5mm by 3mm deep carbon fibre strip. Strip again. And then again you've got the same out here in the elevons as well. Right, I do want to have a quick nose at these elevons. That's one thing which I have overlooked. They are of a decent construction. I'm just going very gingerly with them. Have they put glue? They've not put glue along the edges. I'm thinking of, what was it? Was it the rudder or the elevator on the EF Extra? They'd been and run glue all the way along the edge, which was basically, that's never coming off unless you smash it off. Again, nicety which we're seeing out here is that you'll see the ball link on the end for the control horn. That does mean that you get a much smoother movement compared and a more consistent movement. One thing which is also going through my head at the moment as well is that if you look at the shape of this wing, is that we have the elevons right out on the wingtips. So we will be going very, very carefully on the rates and make sure when I first launch this is that I will make sure that I've got loads of expo in here, because if you think about it, is that the highest airflow is going to be out here on the wingtips. So it may be a little bit sensitive on the stick. So I will be packing 50 to 60% expo even on low and medium rates on this wing, and then high rates I'm guessing it'll just be bonkers, but that is a little bit of a concern for me right now. There's no tips on the wings, that's why we got the vertical stabilizers in the middle as well. Anyway, I've just gone off and geeked out. I do apologise. That's just me just going through my head, which I'm just talking out aloud with. Keith says, what's the recommended... Oh, and thank you, Andy. What's the recommended battery? Up to a 2200 4S. Yeah, I think that's a fair summary in there. You do have quite a large battery bay. Assuming that you, if the battery fits, you'll hit CG. I think that's probably the basic summary for in here. If we have a quick look, it is 12 centimeters long. I'm talking about maximum dimensions there, or 4 3/4 inches long, and then I'll just measure in the middle because I think that's more of a realistic point of view. 4 centimeters or 1.5 inches. So yeah, that is 2200 4S territory. I'm sure if you were that way inclined, you could run this on 3S and maybe a slighter bigger prop. So they're suggesting a 50-45 propeller for this, which they've been included in the kit, which is just a off the shelf. Oh, they've actually included a 50-50 5.5 by 5.5. Now, there is a note on there. You're only supposed to run it with a 50-45. Now, that's assuming 4S. If you did want to run this one on 3S, I would probably suggest that you move up to a 60-45 on there. But do keep an eye on the amp draw for it as well. So, yeah, you could potentially run it on 3S if that's all you got. You don't have any 4S batteries. You could use the smaller prop. It would still go really well. But to get it up to the top end of its speed, you'd probably, again, you've gone down a cell count, so you'd probably want to go up an inch on the propeller itself. Howdy Broken Quad as well. Let's have a look. X Pepe says, I looked on the HobbyKing page. There is not a number 9 decals on the sheets. Damn it, I will have to get out a Sharpie pen and I'll draw my own 9 on there if I must, or cut up one of the other numbers. In fact, actually, that's the only bad point or gripe which I've got at the moment, and it's so minor, is that I would have liked to have 9 in my numbers. So those of you which have just been and joined us that are looking at the Sidewinder, the one which I can point at is not the model, is that, look, we're going to do stickers. Let's do the other stickers as well. Like, where's our 9? So we can only put that one around, so I'll have to chop those numbers up and make my own. Hey ho. Right. Let's have a look. Andy Wood says, or an 1800 graphene 4S because they are fatter. I tell you what, let me go and grab a couple of batteries and then we'll stick some in and we'll get some yays or nays. That's probably the best idea. Don't touch my computer, please, pop it. I grab that one, and I got a 2200 graphene. I've got a 1800 graphene. And we'll grab a zippy 2200, and I'll also grab one of the fat 1500 infinity batteries, which have, for me, they've done really, really well. So let's start from the smaller ones and work our way up. So that is, if you've only got 3S, that's fine. Okay, 2200 3S battery pack. Without a doubt, that would fit. No doubt at all. That would definitely fit in there. Now, some of these other ones are going to get a little bit bigger, so we're going to have to open those up a touch. Next one up is an Infinity 1500 battery pack. You right, Poppet? Yeah? You're looking... Do you want a nose? No. I smell. You smell. Sorry, day off school today. Infinity 1500 pack. No-brainer. That will fit in there. I've been using those 1500 packs with the Durafly Excalibur, aka Toothless. They have done really, really well. Are you trying to get my attention, Poppet? No? Okay. Always. Next one is a Zippy. Yeah, 25C, 2200 4S. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. That's definitely going to fit in there. Again, you should be able to see above in the top camera. That, again... We are kind of getting around about the limits of the size of the battery, and that will fit in there. There's plenty of space around the outside. I'm sure we'll hit CG. Again, just looking at it, I would guess we do that. 1800 graphene pack. That will fit in there. That's kind of like a no-brainer. That will fit in there. Again, it will be a squeeze. You will have your FPV camera sat up there in the nose. Let me just move this onto the top camera so you can see what kind of a squeeze it is. So that's an 1800 milliampere 4S graphene pack with an FPV camera now in the nose. That will be an issue, so like size wise, so you'll need, what I would do, yeah, So what I would suggest you do is try and keep the power lines down one side. Okay, so this battery would actually need to be fitted up the other way round. And then keep the power down one side, and then keep your FPV wires out to the edge, and then going out the hole to your video transmitter off to one side. Yeah, that's what I do. So that battery would definitely need to get fitted up the other way round, just to keep the power lines away, well, as far physically as far as away as possible from the FPV feed, trying to keep some of the snow out of it. Now the next one which I've got is a 2200 milliamp graphene pack, which has definitely seen better days. Let's not even get to the topic of graphene packs, because they're not on my favourite list at the moment. That wood, you are really pushing the limits on whether that's going to fit in there. I am going to have a go to see if I could get this in here, and it is in there the wrong way round, so that we are really at its limits on what can be... Oh, hello. Okay, you can fit in a 2200 graphene pack for us in there. That is nuts. That is happy days for me, because I've only got one of these left. And that was up the tall way as well. That wasn't round the flat way. Again, that would be easier. You'd think that would be easier, but no, that was up the tall way, so you can get the power cable in and around. And again, it's a squeeze, but it's not impossible, and the lid does go on. So yeah, Andy, yeah, good point on that. They will all fit, so I'm happy. All like the major batteries which I use will fit in there, and again, I'm assuming that it will hit CG. Right. Keith says, overall looks like a very cool model. Absolutely brilliant. Joanne says, pinch the 96 decals off the EF Extra. No, my EF Extra is down there at the moment. I don't want to pick the decals off there. I will keep it. I'll make something up for this one. For it. David, have a good day. And let me just move up. Let's have a look on there. We'll mention the batteries. That looks sharp. The plastic, and again, I'm just scrolling through your chat as well. Now, I do apologise if I've been and missed your questions or any queries which you've had about this model. Remember, the best place to ask is underneath this video, because I'm going to go and wrap up now. And again, if you're on here live and you've got a question, please ask now. ET, will it balance? I'll give you a quick one. I've got no idea on the CG. I don't think there was a manual. I think it's more of a case if you stick any 2200 battery pack in here, it will hit CG. Let me just have a quick nose underneath. There is no markings for the center of gravity. I would guess the CG is about on this line here. I'm guessing. So I'm going to put my fingers there, and that's telling me that I'm tail heavy at the moment. So yeah, you probably need a bigger battery. I don't know what the center of gravity on this model is, so I'm not going to take a... I've taken a guess at it. I could be right, I could be wrong. Maybe what that LT and RT is on the wings. I don't know what those are for it. So yeah, very, very curious to say the least. Anyway, let me go and get the lid on, and we'll start to wrap up now. Now, do keep in the back of your mind, this model was bought out of my own money for my own abuses. We will be going out and flying this one today. I'm hell-bent on taking this one up to one of the flying sites, up to a flying club, mainly because I'm guessing some of the older members, the drizzly weather would have kept them away. So we'll take this one up. It's not going to be a long build. Let's think about this logically. I've got to put a control horn on there. I've got to put a control horn on that side. I've got to fit one extension lead to get the LED round, if I even bother putting it on there. Get that in there, cramming the two antennas into that bay and do up 2 screws. The video transmitter, I've got to find an extension wire for the feed, so that I'll need to hook that up to the battery using a JST connector. So a tiny bit of soldering required on my part, because remember, we did have that fly lead nicely provided on the back of the battery. I thought that was a nice touch. But we do have a query whether that's the right way round or the wrong way round. It's probably because I've bought cheap ones and they're all the wrong way round. But hey ho, I can change it around as needed. I will need to cut out the bay for the camera on the front, just because I'm using a Runcam Swift Mini in the nose, so I want that camera to come forwards a little touch. Besides that, stick the propeller on, tune stuff in. Oh, and remember, I do have in my head that I'm a little bit concerned about these elevons being too responsive. So I will ram in 50-60% expo on low and medium and high rates, just to make sure we got plenty of soft movement in the middle of the sticks, just in case it's a bit skitty. And then if I can't find out the CG of this wing, I will take a guess at it, and I will stick lead. I will physically tape lead to the front of the model just to make sure. But that said, there is me weighing this up. I've overlooked the daft thing, is that we will have a run cam sat on the top. So that's another 78-80 grams sat on the top. So yeah, we'll hit CG one way or another. But she will get outflown today. So look out for, hopefully, one-piece photographs in the Facebook group later on today, because I don't want to see foam snow on this one. I literally just paid 100 quid for it. Do I think it's worth 100 quid? Now, that is a very subjective question, because remember, we've not actually flown this model yet. We've only seen one video on YouTube of it from HobbyKing. We've only heard from a very, very small number, I mean like 2 free pilots, which have owned one of these for a period of time, and whether they like them or not. First impressions, it is 100 quid. We are talking EF Extra kind of territory for speed and agility. It has been specifically designed for FPV, unlike the EF Extra, where the FPV pod was like an add-on to this. This is actually built into the wing. I think I'm gonna like it, but let's hold off final judgment until we get it out and get it flown, because we've had, and again, I'm sure many of you know the history here, we've had models which have been absolute bartenders to get into the sky, and the second they've been and got into the sky, they've been absolute peaches, and every moan and gripe and mumble was forgotten. And then we've had other models here which have been absolute, whoa, they just connect it up, off we go, and have been absolute dogs. So that's always why we hold off final judgment. But my impressions so far, I like it. It's well thought out. The only, I'm going to put down 2 things which I personally don't like about it. Number 1 is that we're missing a 9 on the stickers. If we're going to do stickers, we need a 6 and we need a 9. And you'll definitely need an extension lead to get both LEDs working, because it won't fit round in there. It's physically not possible to get that receiver in and around. Minor stuff in the scheme of things. Besides that, it does look the nuts. It comes with a propeller. There's servo covers, servo protectors. Let me just get those out very quickly. Nicely molded plastic, which is, I've managed to pick out the wrong one. We'll stick that on top of there. Stop laughing, you. So you've got really nice molded servo control horn covers, which is, again, helps with the aerodynamics of the models. We do have 2 fins which will stick on the top. Oh, we do get 2 sets of fins which I assume go on the bottom. And the reason why I say assume that they go on the bottom is because they're plastic. I've got nothing really here to scratch them with. Yeah, there's glass fibre in that. It sounds really... Yeah, so that would be like a... Mr. Ave would say a PA6. I would hazard my guess on that, which is quite tough. And again, they're hollow as well, which again cuts down on the weight. I will be going for the thicker ones just because of what I've seen so far in that launch video from HobbyKing, because when they launched it, he left and launched it, didn't he? And the wing did that on him on launch, which is no big surprise because there is a severe lack of vertical stabilization on this wing. Again, if you're doing 100 miles an hour, you don't need much upright stuff to keep you going straight and narrow. But also, how much of the time do you really cane the nuts off it? You don't do it for like 100% of the flight time. So you do need some yaw stability in the model as well. So I will be going for the taller ones on the bottom. Again, they're just 2 screws. I can cope with that. What else we got on here as well? So there's the smaller ones. We've got... there's... To be honest, I understand why it was done. I just don't think... Maybe it was a little OCD on Stuart's part. And I'm not complaining, a good OSD on Stuart's part. He's been included a fake little mushroom antenna, which would go on the opposite side of the wing to balance out any drag. So that's the kind of attention to detail which was made with this wing. I think, and that's why that's all I can pick out. Like, I'd like a 9 in my stickers, and one of the leads needs to be slightly longer. All right, that's like the 2 things which I can point at and go, is a bit of an unknown. Oh, they have included a dummy antenna, a dipole antenna to go on the side. Like I said, they really have thought of most things in here. And what have we got in here? Oh, we've got a prop, nut, a spare screw. I will actually just check the screws just because of the pace of this model we're going. And look, we've got those really nice ball linkages as well to go on the servos too. Right, it is time for me to wrap up. My daughter over there is getting rather restless. I'm waving to you as well, Poppet. Right, let's have a quick look. Chris says, will there be a live maiden? No, it will be recorded for this one. Joe says, the bigger thing on the bottom will push the nose into the dirt on landing. Yes, that is a consideration. That is a consideration. I don't know. Joe, I tell you what, I'm going to go with your experience, and I think you're probably right. That's something which I didn't look at, so I'll go for the shorter fins. And then, to be honest, is it going to... We'll do the shorter ones, like you said. Is that going to push the nose in the ground? Don't know. Is it going to... Yeah, let's go with the shorter ones. Joe, I think you've got a really good point there. Let's go with that one. Wes says, are you going to maiden the GB as well? Going way off topic. Give me a mo. I had a slight motor issue. Oh, motor issue yesterday with the GB. I don't know if you can see that on there. My bashed together motor mount has failed. Basically, I need to get onto HobbyKing later today and get a really high kV small motor, or try and route one out of the motors box to go on the front of it. And the reason for that is that the 2050 kV motor, which I originally tried, just didn't have enough speed in it, or enough. Just remember, we're only using 2S, so it didn't have enough speed on it. That was a 3500, which did have enough speed on it, but then it was grossly nose heavy. So yeah, bit of a challenge with the GB at the moment. Once I've ironed it out, I'll get a video out on it flying. Yeah, that one is very much a work in progress. So good question. Right, on that note, FPV says, I'll stick a 6x4 on it personally. Yeah, I'm gonna use the supply propeller. I know it said on the HobbyKing website that you should only use a 50-45, but hey, it's there. I'm just gonna use what's on my desk. You know, it was in the box, so screw it. Let's go with it. And on that note, yeah, Chris, yeah. Hindsight is beautiful, isn't it? That motor was definitely going to be too slow. The moment I threw it, I did think it was too slow, to say the least. So that GB has flown. It's just not flown very well. Almost embarrassingly well. Not very well. So once I've got it flying and I've sorted out the motor issue, I will share it with you as soon as I can. Brilliant. And by the way, if you don't know what we're talking about with the GB, if you go to the YouTube channel, go back to at this present moment in time, 2 videos. The part 1 and part 2 is on the GB Pylon Racer, which technically is no longer a Pylon Racer because I've been stuck another aileron surface on it now, so it's actually flyable. Anyway, coming back onto the topic, the Sidewinder. Bit of an anticlimax at the moment. She's been and arrived. We need to stick some stickers on there. It's a very quick setup. I think realistically, I personally, right now, I'm talking maybe a 30-minute, 40-minute setup just because of the bit of soldering, and I don't know where I don't know for a wire for the video transmitter is, so that's going to be a little bit of a challenge to get set up. And I've got a tiny bit of cutting, straight molding to get that camera in the nose because I'm not using the suggested light camera which they've suggested. I've only got that one, so that's what we're having. Besides that, very, very simple to set up, not beyond anybody's skills, to be honest, assuming that you've flown a wing before with FPV. This is not a complicated build by any stretch of the imagination. And like I said, there's a few unknowns. How it's going to fly in the sky. Are we going to suffer from waggle at all on there? How well is that nose cone's going to hold up to? I don't know. But right now, I do kind of like the look of it. We've got plenty of customization going on there. I like the fact that, remember the stickers which we had at the beginning? We can change our colours. We can put our fins in there. We've got the LED bar at the back. You're going to pass one of those over? Thank you, beautiful. So, my little assistant's just And went in. So if you missed this at the very beginning, there are a collection of different stickers. So you've got green, you got blue, red, which I would be going red because red is the fastest colour. But if you were otherwise inclined, there is silver, yellow, and green as well. So I'll get those back out of the way. I'll pass those back to my little assistants. Thank you, beautiful. So you're coming out and flying with Dad later, aren't you? You can nod. You just like your mummy. She stands there and nods. Are you going to speak? You don't want to speak? No? What do you think of Daddy's flying?
It's good.
It's good. Well done. Do you think Daddy hits many trees?
Yes.
Do you think your Daddy laughs when he hits a tree with a model?
No.
No? Do you think your Daddy says lots of naughty words? That's a nod, yes. Are you coming out flying with me later?
Yeah.
Brilliant. What did you think of Andrew Newton's video earlier? Remember the one we had all the faces in the side? Was that funny?
Yeah.
Yeah? Which bit did you like?
Where you're driving really crazy.
Do you think that's my normal flying? You're nodding again. Thank you, beautiful. Right. And Skinny FBV guy says, red does not show the blood. That's absolutely true. So with that said, it's time for me to wrap up. Do keep in the back of your mind the Sidewinder was bought out of my own money for my own abuses. I do actually want to say a thank you to Ian at HobbyKing for giving me a heads up that they were coming into stock. But I literally, and they turned up in the Hong Kong warehouse or the China warehouse. And then I saw them turn up in Europe, and then it was a really painful couple of days just going back and hit and refresh on the keyboard, waiting for them to come in stock into the UK. Literally ordered it yesterday, turned up this morning. Genuinely impressed with what I'm seeing straight in front of me right now. And that's no big surprise. You've seen the kind of detail which was and the kind of thought which was put into a model like this, and this is probably a big thumbs up to Stuart originally in the design process to go to the point to include a dummy FPV antenna and a dummy dipole antenna, so that you didn't have any yaw issues with the model when it was flying at high speeds. That is there's a level or an eye for detail which has been given to this model, which we don't normally see with other models, if that makes sense. So yeah, kind of like it. It is time for me to go. I'd like to say a massive thank you to you for taking the time to watch this live episode. If you have any questions or comments, or maybe I've been missed your question or comment, don't panic. Don't take it personally. I've just not been keeping that much of an eye on the live chat as we've been going along. So you can either ask in the comments section underneath this video. You can pop across to the Facebook group. This is a link to the Rag the Nuts Off Facebook group. There are over 2,500 cool pilots like me and you now in the Facebook group. And if you've not joined yet, just hit the join button on the right hand side, and one of the moderators or myself will pick up your request later today. Also, a shameless plug for Instagram as well. I am on a goal to post 1,000 images to do with RC over the next couple of months on Instagram too. So I think I've posted about 4 or 5 already today, so I'm making a good job of that. Do look out, and I will most likely post any short videos or images of the Sidewinder when we get up to the flying site, and I'll do that both on Instagram for you and also in the Facebook group too. So with that said, for myself, Matt, thank you. I'll see you again shortly. Cheerios. Oh, shameless plug again. If you want to hang around for the maiden on this one, this model will be flown today. I always post the videos first in the Facebook group. So if you're interested in what my thoughts and opinions after this model's been flown and you want to see the maiden, Facebook group, because that's where it'll be out first, and then we'll publish it on YouTube either tonight or tomorrow, depending upon time. So I'm off. Thank you. See you soon. Cheerios.